Hello and good morning. Welcome to day 3 of Find Your Inner Balance and Spring Clean Your Soul. I hope you are having a fantastic day. It's quite sunny here, which is good. The cloud seems to be moving away, so hopefully we'll have a nice sunny afternoon to look forwards to. So before we begin, please make sure that you are ready for magical practice in whatever way that means for you. So if you would like to do a short meditation, open your chakras, or do a breathing exercise, then please do that now. So for those of you who this is the first video you're watching, hello and welcome. And I will very quickly go over what we've been doing over the last few days. So we exist within 4 bodies: the physical body, the mental body, the emotional body, and the spiritual body. And like I've said in previous videos, it's really important to separate thoughts and feelings. Thoughts are not feelings and feelings are not thoughts. And separating them into 2 different aspects of us helps us to identify what's really going on. So today we are going to be focusing on the emotional plane, the emotional body, and the emotional realm, which of course links very well to the mental body. As I said, thoughts and feelings can often get confused, and it's important to recognize where our thoughts are leading us. So what emotions are we feeling because of the thoughts that we are thinking? So emotions can have a massive impact on how we react and respond to our environment and the things that happen to us, and also how we behave. So if we are coming from a place of anger, our behaviour is going to be very different than when we are coming from a place of joy. So what I would like you to start thinking about and recognising today is, where are you spending time, effort and energy within your emotional body? Okay, and we're going to start doing that by thinking about what your emotional body consists of. Okay, and I'll just get my paperwork. So on the positive side, and you remember yesterday I was talking about there are negative aspects of the mental plane and there are positive aspects, and exactly the same with your emotions. There are positive emotions that drive us forwards and get us motivated, and there are also negative emotions that hold us back and stop us from taking action and stop us from doing the things that we want to do in our lives. So let's have a look then. On the positive side of emotions, we of course have got love. And love is one of the easiest ways, and probably one of the most difficult, to combat some of the negative emotions. And it's easy because love is such a simple thing. And it's hard because sometimes it's really difficult to feel it. Our love has conditions attached to it. I would love you more if, I would love myself less, more if. And so we often put conditions on our love. And sometimes those conditions are important and they link to our boundaries and what is acceptable for us and what is not acceptable for us. And sometimes it's more like we're playing a game with love. And I will only love you if you behave and meet my expectations in these ways. So start to think about the love that you have and experience in your life. What conditions do you place on love, and what are necessary for your boundaries and what are unnecessary, and you are creating obstacles for yourself. Okay, so love, of course, is one of the most positive emotions that we can feel. And alongside that, we also have joy. So are you spending time, effort and energy finding or having joy in your life? Have you created the space to find joy in your life? Are you bringing it towards you? And then we also have excitement, and that feeling of anticipation and that feeling of looking forward to something and be excited about it. And what's interesting is, and I'll talk about it a little bit later on, what's interesting is that excitement and worry often feel the same. So when we're excited, our body gets tense and we draw inwards and our muscles get tighter, our breathing changes. And that is the same thing that happens to our body when we experience stress or worry. So it was interesting to wonder whether you can flip that thought process around, the stress thought, and create it into an excitement feeling rather than a stress worry thought feeling. Okay, so we've got love, we've got joy, we've got excitement. We also have relief, that feeling of being at peace, that having let go of something, and that creation of space gives us a very nice relief, peaceful feeling as well. And then this one is an interesting one because it can be negative and positive depending on your perception of it, and that is pride. So ask yourself the question, what are you proud of in your life? And don't think of pride as a negative emotion, but rather as a recognition of yourself, honouring yourself and the journey that you've come on, and the achievements that you have made throughout your life. So pride, please think of it on the positive side. What can I be proud of? What accomplishments have I made throughout my life? And then of course there is always the negative side of emotions as well, and this is where things like fear, anger, sadness, shame, grief and guilt live. So when you're looking at your own emotions, are you spending too much time, effort and energy in those negative emotions, in that fear, the anger, the sadness, the shame, the grief and the guilt? And I said a couple of days ago that anger is often a secondary emotion, and often the anger, we're not angry for no reason. We're angry because we are sad about something, because we are resentful about something, because we are feeling grief, because we are feeling fear. So when you think about the anger that you have in your life, can you go one level deeper than that and discover where that anger is actually coming from? So what other emotion is linked to that anger? And can you start to unpick that a little bit? So ask yourself the question, where am I spending the most of my time, effort and energy? Am I creating space for those positive emotions in my life, or am I spending way too much time in the negative emotions, and feeling that clutter of carrying those emotions around with you? So what emotions are you thinking, are you feeling? And in exactly the same way as we did yesterday, start to unpick those. And if you want to write those down, then do that, and get yourself a big piece of paper, and you can label. So what is it that comes under my fear emotion? What are the things that I am fearful of? What are the things I'm sad about? What are the things in my life that bring me joy and love? And all of those kinds of emotions. Can you identify where in your life you are feeling and experiencing those things? So like I said, approach them one at a time if you would like to. So what stirs up anger in you? What do you fear? And you'll notice that as I'm speaking, I'm not saying what makes you angry, what makes you sad, because nothing makes you feel those things. You feel those things as a result of or as a response to something that has happened. And you need to look at what the deeper underneath level of that is. Okay, and I used to use this in teaching quite a lot to get more information out of my students, and so I'm going to do the exact same thing with you as well. Can you ask yourself why? So I feel anger about this thing. Why? Because it made me feel, and then think about the made me feel. What was it actually that was the underlying cause of that? So I've got an example here. He didn't listen. Okay, so I'm angry because he never listened. He did not listen to me. And instead of putting that emotion onto somebody else, onto something else, you need to start turning that emotion inwards. And it's not about what they did, it's not about what they said, it's not about what happened on an external plane, it's about what's happening inside. So he didn't listen becomes I didn't feel respected. Okay, and that's different. I didn't feel respected. Why? Because my boundary was ignored. I said a thing, he didn't listen, my boundary was ignored. Okay, and so what? And so this is where we go another level deeper as well. So asking why again. I didn't feel respected. Why? Because my boundary was ignored. Why? Because I allowed that line to be broken. I allowed that, I didn't stand up for myself. And that's the final level of the why. Why did you allow that? Because I didn't stand up for myself. So actually the anger isn't about what they did. It's more about I didn't stand up for myself. I didn't make myself heard. So when you are going through these negative emotions, start to see if you can find the actual underlying reason as to why you feel a particular way or a particular thing. Okay? And so go through, as I said, start with the negative ones because it's always nice to finish on the positive ones. So start with all of those negative ones. What do you fear? What brings you anger? What brings you sadness? What do you feel guilty about? What are you grieving in your life? Ask yourself those questions, and then ask yourself why. Use the words because, so that, and then to help you access that deeper level of where that feeling is really coming from. And then, if you want to, put it down, go away, come back to it later. But then the next step is to reflect. Reflect on what you've just done. Okay, so in the example that I said, I'm angry because I didn't stand up for myself, not because he said or did this thing, but because I didn't stand up for myself. So what can I realize about that? Do I need to actually forgive myself for not being able to stand up for myself? I didn't stand up for myself in that situation, and I recognize that, and I've now learnt from that, and I won't let that happen again. That situation is not going to happen because I know how to stand up for myself now. So I can let go of the fact that I didn't know last time around. Okay, I don't need to continue to feel angry at myself or guilty that I didn't stand up for myself, because I know how to do it now. I've learned the lesson. Okay, so take that time to reflect on where you can now let go of some of these emotions that have been holding you back for a really long time. So do you need to forgive yourself? Do you need to forgive somebody else? And actually, your response to a situation wasn't of their doing, it was simply the way that you responded to what happened. So do you need to forgive yourself or somebody else? And forgiveness is quite a difficult topic to unpick, because sometimes forgiveness feels like you're letting them win. And sometimes forgiveness isn't actually necessary, and we can work so hard to try to forgive, but actually we don't have to. We can just acknowledge that the thing happened and move on from it. So yeah, forgiveness is a difficult one, because if you're feeling that you're letting somebody else win, then you need to ask yourself the question, why is it important that I win in this particular situation? What is winning going to get me in my own personal journey? Is the fact that I have won this situation going to actually move me forwards, or is it just another way that I can, I was right, and hold on to that emotion for even longer when you don't need to? So do you need to find forgiveness somewhere? Have you realised that you were perhaps expecting more than somebody else was able to give you, particularly when it comes to relationships with other people, relationships with friends, colleagues, partners, ex-partners? You need to understand that, and this is where the should word comes in. They should have done this, they should have felt that, they should have been more like this. That is your expectation of what their what's the word I'm thinking of? What their, not their boundaries, but what their abilities are. Okay, you should have been able to know this thing. Well, maybe they're not in a place where they can understand and know that thing. Maybe they're not in a place where they're able to give you the love that you thought you should have received from them. Maybe they weren't in a place where they were able to meet your expectations of what a situation should have been like. And actually being able to let go of that should, being able to let go of you couldn't meet my expectations, puts you in a better place, because you're accepting that the other person is where they are and you are not in the same place as them. So this is what I would expect. This is where you were. You didn't meet my expectations, and that's not necessarily your fault. You are just unable to do the thing that I find important, or the thing that I think is a standard. That's the word I wanted, the standard. You weren't able to meet my standards, because not everybody has the same standards as you. Everybody has their own version of what love looks like, of what joy looks like, of what excitement looks like, and everybody is different. And trying to get somebody else to match what your expectations of a situation are when they're not in the same place as you is very difficult, and that does breed things like anger, resentment, frustration, and all of those other feelings. My computer's just turned off, hang on. So take that time to reflect on what your emotions are, and where are you spending the majority of your time, effort and energy within your emotional plane. Are you creating space? Are you creating space for love and joy and excitement and peace and pride and all of those positive emotions? Okay. So when you are reflecting, can you flip any of those negative emotions around? Can you, now that you've got to the deeper level, can you see a more positive side of it? So I recognize that we weren't in the same place, and therefore I can move on. I recognize that your experiences, your memories, your life path has brought you to believe this is true, whereas I don't believe that, and that's where we had problems. And where I was feeling resentment and anger, actually I'm now a bit more understanding about the fact that you're just not in the same place as me. So can you flip any of those emotions around? Okay. And then let's do the fun bit. Can you explore your positive emotions? Okay, so what are the things? And again, if you want to do this on a piece of paper, if you're not a writer and you want to just simply say this out loud or speak it into a speech to text app on your phone, then do that instead. There's no need to write it, as long as you are acknowledging it. So what brings you joy in your life? What are the things that are bringing you joy, and are you doing them? Okay. Where do you find love in your life? And please make sure that you are finding love for yourself. Okay, self-love is so important, and we spent a long time looking at that in February, why self-love is so important and why it can help to rebalance the 4 bodies as well. So where in your life are you finding love? What sparks excitement for you? Okay, what are the things in life that you are passionate about? And are you creating the space to do those things? Are you making sure that, if, like I think I said in one of my earlier videos, swimming was an activity that came up for me that I need to do in order to support and rebalance my physical body. So am I creating the space, if that sparks excitement for me, am I creating the space to do that in my life? So what are the things that spark excitement, and are you creating the space in your life for them? Moving on, what relief can you feel from letting go? Okay, so letting go of some of those thoughts from yesterday, letting go of some of those emotions from today. What is the relief that you will feel? Okay, and where will that lead you? So what space are you creating by doing that? And what can you take pride in? So what have you accomplished? And take time with this one. Really think back over the long life that you have had. What are the things within that life that you are particularly proud of? And are you acknowledging them? Okay. And then finally, can you create space to find one of these positive emotions every day? Okay. Can you find time to share or feel love? Can you find time to find the joy, to spark excitement? Have you got time in your day to do one of those things every day? Okay. And then finally, so it's a bit of a long one today. There's lots of different things to do. I said that this one would be a particularly hard one. So finally, take that time, okay? Take that time to go into your inner space if you have one. If you don't, there is a meditation in my group that will help you find your inner space. It is at in the guides at the top of the group there. If you've never done any kind of visualizing or meditating or anything like that before, that's absolutely fine. You can just sit quietly and take a moment to connect with yourself before asking yourself the question, what emotions can I let go of? Okay. And again, accept the first thought, memory, idea, picture or phrase that comes to mind. Okay. So whatever it is that pops up first, take notice of it because it's important. You can keep going. There may be other things that pop in as you're sitting and asking this question, but ask, what emotions can I let go of? How can I rebalance my emotions or my emotional body? Okay. And then ask, where can I find love, joy, excitement, whichever calls to you to ask about, where can I find that in my life? Okay. And again, whatever pops up first for you is the thing to take notice of. And like I've said, every day, if you have tarot or oracle cards, of course, ask the questions of them and see what comes up for you. And remember that what pops up may not be related necessarily to emotions. It may be a physical thing that it's time to let go of. It may be some more thoughts, ideas, worries that you need to let go of. So it may not be related specifically to your emotions, but again, take that time to ask the question, what can I do to balance my emotional body more? Where can I find love, joy and excitement? And of course, I would love to see what you're coming up with. So please take a moment and share your cards in the group. Let me know your aha moment, that moment when the dots connected and you finally realized this particular thing. Share that with me in the group if you feel you can. And that is all for day 3. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon and the sunshine that we've got, and I will see you tomorrow for day 4, where we will be focusing on decluttering the spiritual body. Have a lovely afternoon, and I will see you soon.